Hello everyone and welcome. Yes, my name is Arrowfire. Welcome back to another episode of Look Out and Shout. Over halfway through with the Stunticons, today we are reviewing Fanstoys FT-31C Spoiler, their version of a G1 breakdown. So, this didn't necessarily wow me when I first got it, but I must remember when reviewing this figure, this is from 2019. Even if it does have the suffix of C, we are doing just these in alphabetical order for the purpose of the review. The box itself is nice, very typical Fanstoys cartoon-esque product shots of breakdown on the front and back. On the back of the box you have the typical biopic, or synopsis, and some fairly bland product shots as they were at the time. Inside the box comes the figure itself, along with the accessories, the instructions, and a collector's card. Don't forget, you can get this review early and get some other perks by signing up to my Patreon page. I'll put a link in the description below, and you can see which of the tiers best suits you. Without further ado, let's get on with the review. And there he is in his robot mode. Stands tall, and the blue is very nice. He's got a lot of weight to him, particularly in the legs on first impressions. I don't know if it's just my copy, because I picked this up secondhand. The white is very off-white, and he always was. He was never meant to be a brilliant white, but it does come across very faded. And I don't know, as this is the only time I've held this figure in hand, whether it is meant to be this colour, or if it's just faded in time. Maybe it's been in sunlight, not in my collection, but maybe it's just something that comes across very almost yellowing, I suppose. It's very off. It's not as striking a white as I thought it was going to be. Maybe I was expecting more of a dusty white than, say, a turning yellow white. But that aside, it's good. As I say, there is a lot of heft to it. It doesn't come across as premium as Magnum did. That was one thing I noticed when I held the two figures side by side, particularly in robot mode. It doesn't feel as polished. There's kind of things when you take photographs of his red face, which is again quite a attraction, quite a centerpiece. It just looks very grainy by comparison. I don't know, again, if it's just my copy of the figure. It's all I've got to go on. It's all I've got to review on. But yeah, he just doesn't have that absolute sheen that Magnum did the first time I got it in hand. Let's get in for a closer look. Now he comes with his placid face, and that's fine enough. The silver on the chest is nice. It is not absolutely shades different to the white. Maybe, I don't know, I think there's too much they could do on it, but yeah, otherwise it's pretty good. Obviously doesn't come with the Decepticons stickers on, they have been applied. I do like the back of the figure. I like the kind of black vents on there of the Lamborghini Countach, very iconic, and it's a very nice feature. He stands a very thin profile. He cascades away very well, which I'm quite surprised with. But yeah, he's got that very glossy face on the go. It's very much a dead face. He does come with another. Nice rubber tyres on the shoulder. Doesn't have the chrome wheels that Magnum came with. Again, just doesn't have the absolute premium. Nice detailing on the knees. Very nice weight with around the glossiness of the paint used on the blue. He's holding his main accessory, which is a gun. It's a rather thick gun, really. Quite a thick barrel used. But yeah, that's more or less it. We'll show you some articulation, but actually, just quickly, you can see, at least on mine, if I can show you the gap there, it does like to come on tab with the shoulder, and I'm forever trying to clip it in for it to come dislodged again. Yeah, mildly annoying, but you really have to make sure it's secured in. So yeah, articulation, head can look up and down, a bit stiffer than Magnum was. Rotate all the way around, that's quite stiff. Now this is again something I've known on mine, the hand port to holding the gun, that's quite loose, so you've seen it with it in there, but it is, yeah, a bit frustrating. Again, just on my copy, but rotate it all the way around. I'm holding the back piece in place. Bicep rotation, again quite stiff. Double elbow bend, which is a nice feature. Didn't think it would be there, but it is. Wrist rotation and individual finger movements, which is good. But given the tolerances and stiffness on this, I'd be a little careful operating them. Again, no ab crunch, but ab rotation. I don't think you'll get a full 360. Oh, you will. Just because there's a bit of clearance issues. And again, it does like to come untabbed. Very thin on the hip skirts. Nice ratchets out. Possibly a little bit more degree of movement than, say, Magnum did. Can go out to the side, but then starts to bump into the back hip skirts. probably can't get all that much more than that sidekick action and can go back. But again, the height difference on the hips is a bit of a problem here because then it restricts the movement. That's a bit of a shame. Surprising there, the height difference at the front and the back hip flaps is going to restrict some movement. Quite a nice arching bend there. Part of the transformation with the knee arch, but that's very good. It does move pretty easily. I've noticed that. It doesn't lock in as tight as it should. Ankle tilt to that far and quite a good toe tilt down. So he's got articulation in good places, but yeah, the untransforming, at least on my copy, tolerances is a bit of a shame. Now this is quite telling. This is his alternative face. I'll try and get my thumb out of the way so you see better. Have you noticed his eyes are purple? And on this one, they are blue. That's really odd. So it's a shouty face, but they are definitely more of a purple tinge. Maybe not, maybe it is just a light, but certainly holding them in the first hand, they do have a bit more of a Galvatron purple to them than say the blue that's on there, but I don't know if the light's picking it up quite so much. But it's a shouty face. You do the similar to before, you lift the head to apply the face on, it's just a plug-in connector. That's probably the better face of the two. I do wish Fanstoys would go in for a different coloured mouth though. I don't like how it transitions just red to red with the mouth open, but otherwise it's a good sculpting. It's probably a better look for him. I might actually put that on. I said from the top of the head, I meant from the underside of the head. You don't have to remove the top of the head like you would do a Magnum. You just pry it off from under his chin with the head tilting up. Definitely a better look at the two. That's the one I'm going to keep on for him. Okay, on to some comparisons. Bit of foreboding for the next review. Here he is alongside Magic Square's Masterpiece Scale Tornado, their version of Vortex. Different teams, different aesthetic, but same height, which is nice to see. Yeah, that scales pretty well. Different approaches, but I do like that they're much the same height. Comparing alongside Lamborghini Bros, all three of them Lamborghini Countachs. Here he is alongside DX9's Red Storm and Takara's Sunstreaker. I'm quite disappointed at the differences in size proportion. Yeah, that's not amazing given that they'll more or less scale the same in alt mode. So why does it need to stand this tall in robot mode? And we say they're in keeping with the Masterpiece Carbot scale, but they're clearly not. I've said before this is an outdated scale. And okay, this is what, 2021 release by this point? I don't know, I'm quite disappointed it dwarfs by that much, considering they turn into the same alt mode, and okay, these two aren't combiners, to be that much more. This is going to be on par with an Ironhide, a Ratchet, Trailbreaker kind of size. It's quite a difference, and a disappointing one, I would have said. These guys have got to be much more the same. DX9s, maybe on the smaller side, maybe they'll be a bit more in keeping, but considering they turn into the same vehicle, and they're both cars, they're all cars, there is a Carbot scale that's been set out in Masterpiece. I'm just a bit disappointed it's that far apart. And for something a bit different, here he is alongside Robot Paradise, Fanstoys Acoustic Wave. That possibly is right, but he stands a little closer than I thought he would to the bigger bots, the likes of a Megatron, Shockwave, Starscream. Yeah, he does come a bit closer. I'm very mindful he's a foot soldier and nothing more. He is a combiner limb bot. He is there to form Menasor. The bigger one of the crew would be Motormaster, would be Road King. And yeah, I'm surprised he's standing as tall as he is to fit in with the others. It's quite an interesting one. And given the size he is to some others, I might as well show this as well. This is the very brand new release of X-Transbot's Gravedigger, their version of Scavenger. Okay, it's always hard to compare a 5-bot set to a 6-bot set, but that is much more in keeping, but I guess this is where I expected it to be of a similar size. The Constructicons were never totally small, but the fact he's bigger than some of the Takara Masterpiece Carbots would suggest to me that they're going to be a bit more in keeping with the larger bots, but smaller still. So not your Megatron, Soundwave, but whatever, some of these more in-between ranges. As I say, the likes of Ratchet and Ironhide, so I'd expect the Constructicons to be in the same ballpark as well. That's a good comparison though, for two different companies. They scale together pretty well, they complement one another. Okay, let's get this guy transformed up, shall we? Here he is in his alt mode. Not a good transformation. It just wasn't. It's just fiddly and completely different to what Magnum was, which was a simple transformation. I can't say I dislike how it looks once it's in, everything is secure, but it just wasn't fun getting to. And some of the steps, if you've done this, you'll know, rotating of the waist, but only the very lower part of the waist, moving up the hip skirts, and you're brushing plastic against plastic to do so. Some of the side panels around this section, the rear tyre, rear wheels, you really had to give them some force to get them in there. Nothing necessarily felt like it was going to break, but how you had to move the openings of the legs, it was plastic on plastic. There was a lot of force that just didn't feel comfortable. I wouldn't be at all surprised if there are breakages with this figure. But it looks good enough. Now, that kind of off-white is very apparent in this mode. And fine, it is what it is. The accents of the colours around the blue, particularly around the wheel arches and that red piece in the middle, very nice accents, very nice highlights, breaks up the colour. The black windows are not an attractive feature, I don't think. I think if they were clear blue, transparent blue, or if people get toy hack stickers, it would look all the nicer still, because it does kind of warp an otherwise very bright colour scheme. But other than that, it's fine enough. Let's get in for a closer look. Very nice definitive weight here. Everything tabs in well, and he can thankfully roll nicely. You've got good ground clearance, which I'm very pleased to see. Rubber tyres, of course. It's a shame there's no metal alloys and they're just kind of painted grey. It's not a fun transformation, but everything does tab in eventually. I don't think there is too much in terms of manoeuvrability. I don't think the windows come open like a separate feature as such, part of the transformation more so. Yeah, I just don't like that black windscreen, which is going to be the same for Road King, and obviously that's the same colour as the body of Road King in Alt mode, but with Magnum, of course, it was a red to offset the already black paint scheme. Just minor things, and as I say, I think people could get toy hack stickers on it. There's that lovely blue, which sadly more or less disappears and just becomes the trimming and the wheel edges. It's nice, it's a very cool design, very much an 80s design. I just didn't enjoy the transformation getting here, and whilst it's nice enough in this mode, yeah, it's another mark against it. It should have been very similar, almost a carbon copy to Magnum, and it wasn't. It was anything but. And yeah, I can't say Transformers have had good experiences when it comes to transforming into Countashes. And thankfully there is a bit of weapon storage. There is a port just there, which again you have to give it a little bit of welly. But he's got his weapon storage as well, which is nice enough. Yeah, protrudes a little bit, and it is a big gun. But it's good that he can store his one and only accessory. I don't think there is anywhere to store the additional faceplate though. And that's about it, so on to some comparisons. Here he is alongside my previous review on this set with Magnum. I mean, it's night and day just how they look, and it should be. One's a Lamborghini, one's a Ferrari. But I just can't work it out why it was so much harder, where this was so much simpler by comparison. I think I'm right in saying that they came out, when I'm reviewing them in alphabetical order, I'm not sure if indeed Spoiler came out first ahead of Magnum. At least on the product shots of Magnum, there was already Spoiler on it, so maybe they went in that order. But it feels like they had the right formula with Magnum, and it fell away a bit. Yeah, just a bit frustrating. It is cool seeing these two side by side, two very different cars, two very distinctive shapes. They do look very cool together. And some foreboding for the next Stunticon review, alongside Fanstoys Smokey with his guns attached. Again, much different size. I mean, he's going to make up an arm, he's going to make up a leg. Quite interesting though when you get them side by side. These are quite two very distinctive shapes and colours. So it kind of, the brightness of the yellow is almost dwarfing the white, that off-white colour again. It could be my copy, but it's something I can't look past. And I had to come back a bit alongside Fanstoys Road King. I mean, this whole set just looks so cool together. They're meant to be in keeping with one another. It does look really cool when you get them all side by side. And there it is, one more to go. They do look really cool. They're obviously all going to look cool. It's a shame they're not all going to be in their combined mode come the end of it, when Menasor is all ready to go. But it is a good looking set. Just, yeah, bit of an annoying transformation, and not the strongest robot mode of the set so far either. Now this might be a good comparison to make alongside Takara's Red Alert. Countach versus Countach. This is a KO, I will say that right from the start. They are more or less the same size, maybe Spoiler's a little bit wider, but it's interesting when you see the similarities. Obviously they got the similar type of spoiler, similar type of wheels, but look at the colouring, the white. This is much more of a yellow white, it's a daffodil white, whereas this has very much gone for a grey. It's just something I can't look past. It's just how far away from a brilliant white that it is. But broadly speaking, they do the job well enough. It is very much a Lamborghini. If you had Sideswipe and Sunstreaker alongside, it probably would replicate just as well. So what is my view on mental breakdown? I will just point out at the start, I didn't show it in a review, but the lights open up quite nicely. So you can see the typical fold up headlight features. I think cars should have that even nowadays. It does look quite cool actually, the twin lights either side, 4 lights total. Very nice. As far as the robot mode goes, I was quite underwhelmed. I didn't like that the back panel kept coming away, but that could just be on my copy. And again, I just can't overlook that faded white design. It just looks a bit too faded. Again, could be my copy. The articulation's fair enough. The accessories are limited. What else is he going to come with? But it doesn't come with a plethora of accessories. The transformation was not fun. The alt mode is nice and good and dense. It's a shame things like the hood don't open up like we've seen with Takara Sunstreaker and other things that maybe could have been done, but other than doors opening, what else are you going to do? It is a very iconic car. It's been done very well. I like all the heft. I do like the blue accents. It's very reflective, very nice. But that's kind of all I can say about it. This was never going to be an exciting alt mode. And if you're going to use it, and this is the worst part about Menasor, it's going to sit on the back of his leg if you're going for that toon accuracy. It's crying out for toy hack stickers to be applied to it. But even still, I just didn't feel it was as good as what preceded it with Magnum, if indeed that did precede it. I mean, I have just checked Magnum's box and it does say 2020 on it, so we'll assume it came out afterwards, even though it is named B rather than C. So maybe to that sense I can forgive it more. Just Magnum had it better for transformations, for articulation of robot mode, even with the floppy loose head, which wasn't great, is better than this. But I'm reviewing them in alphabetical order at the very least. They did learn their lessons, clearly. If this did come out first ahead of Magnum, it's just a shame then that these figures are seemingly not going to be reissued or re-released to improve this in any way. I really do believe you should transform your Transformers, and you get a lot of people, particularly Fanstoys collectors, certainly third-party collectors anyway, they won't transform their Transformers, and I can understand it, particularly when you're doing this much friction on other parts, that if this snaps, well, you are quite stuck. But I'm sorry to say it has more negatives than positives. I do like the Fanstoys heft, I do like the paint, but when you're paying over £100 for that transformation and a fairly lackluster robot mode, whatever niceties of rolling tyres, clearance of the tyres, rubber tyres, and a nice looking metallic blue paint being used, just doesn't carry the weight. But one thing I was really surprised with is just how much it dwarfed the Takara carbots. It shouldn't be like that. I should imagine that this is the same height as Prowl and Sunstreak, all the rest of it. Yes, it's more in keeping with its other Stunticons, and that's probably should be its primary focus. But this should be more or less the same height as the carbot scale. Based on this, I give this guy 2 Rodimus star badges, and I think there could be a few people upset with my verdict on it. I just think it really does suffer with not being the most premium release. And there we go, that is my review of Fanstoys FT-31C Spoiler, their version of a G1 breakdown. I'll put some photos up at the end. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, share and hit that subscribe button because I will see you on the next one.